Right, so we were talking about digital ID and stuff, and obviously digital phones and that. I'll just let you continue.
Yeah.
What you say, I'll try to shut up.
No worries, but you have lots to bring to the table.
Yeah.
So yes, it's really important that people realize that all this digital stuff that we think are so convenient, and yes it is, I don't deny it is. So we're talking about cashless, we're talking about digital ID. Oh, it's so simple, you have everything on your phone, but what is it doing to us? First of all, we've already mentioned in the first part of our interview the radiation, which is killing not only us, slowly yes, but it's killing us, and the bees and the birds and all the wildlife, planet as such. Yeah, slow death, but quicker and quicker with increasing radiation.
Youngsters who were born into it though, I don't know how far they're going to make it, you know.
No.
I don't think they'll make retirement age, you know.
One can only hope, but they're also being, they're being digitalized in such a way that they think this is normalized. Our kids are our guinea pigs now. It's incredible what we're doing to our kids.
Yeah.
But when it comes
to for the digital age,
digital idea, which is seen as so practical, that is the ultimate surveillance. Once we have everything on our phone, and it's strange, Eric. When I walk around and in town or wherever, and I see people with their phones in their hand, as if it's some extension to their hand, it's really weird.
Oh yeah.
Eventually, they will want this in our bodies. Yeah, they will want to say, oh, but it's much more practical with a chip implanted somewhere.
There's some people already have the chip in the wrist.
It already exists.
I've seen them on the underground, you know, tapping on with the wrist.
It already exists, and in schools.
But some companies they have chips as well, isn't they?
Yeah.
Because they can only, like, for instance, they're only allowed, say when they go into their offices, wherever they are, they've got a chip and they can get the coffee out of the coffee machine with it. It goes onto the paycheck, obviously, or off the paycheck.
And some workers have to identify themselves before they go in with
we
the
have
chip.
various, like sort of the CEOs, their chip, they'll be able to open a safe with it, where the others can't, you know. So all these things, apart from being not good for your body, they can all be hacked, can't they?
There are schools where kids have to pay with their fingerprint. This should say it all.
Oh,
it's so safe, you don't need cash, you can't lose cash, nobody can rob you. No, but your fingerprint is precious.
That's biometric.
Yeah, biometrics.
Yeah.
This is the age we're going into, digital ID, and also, of course, digital currency. That's the other thing.
Retina stuff as well, isn't it? You know,
that's coming, that's already in China. If you want to look where we're going to, then have a look at China.
Yeah.
Because China is the ultimate 5G, soon 6G prison, where everybody's surveyed.
Yeah.
If you look at Tibet.
Not everybody. We've got more cameras than China in this country.
Well, yes, but China has made it into an art, and they made it into, as we know, because they have a regime that's not very friendly.
Going on here. We know the frequencies at the moment. Some of them are high, 5G, but not everywhere yet, because I've got the full infrastructure in. But we don't know. You see, I've got an EMF, electromagnetic field strength detector, but I can't, and if those electromagnetic fields are getting higher, I know the frequencies are getting higher, but I don't know what the frequencies are. You can't
measure that anymore, it's so hard.
You can get a machine to measure that, but you're talking about a couple of £1,000.
Exactly. The main thing to know is that we're in an
do different things, can't they? You know?
They do, and the pulsation is the most worrying thing.
This is where the 5G is.
We are not made, we haven't evolved for 24/7 pulsed high frequency or low frequency. They use all kinds of frequencies, but the higher frequencies are getting higher and higher.
That's where the 5G is.
And they are pulsed, they are jagged, they are not meant for our biology is not coping with this well, and that's why people have more and more chronic diseases.
That's why the 5G aspects are 100 times worse than 4G and Wi-Fi, you know, that's not good for you at all.
So out on the street, so bad.
I was sitting out on the street,
crazy.
I was playing for Palestine over in Rye on Saturday, in the, I think they call it the place, it's the town square in Rye, it's just where you go in to get into the big co-op store in there, and it's behind the Commodore Cinema, and there's a load of cell towers on the roof of that. And I got my EMF detector out, and I couldn't believe it. It was over 8,000 millivolts.
Yeah.
When 600 millivolts is a high risk level.
It's absurd.
And there's people sat, and they've also got chrome, like metal, you know, these benches they have now, these modern chrome benches. And the metal benches, and there's people sitting on them.
Moreover, which is conductive. And people with implants, by the way, be often being metal.
This is it.
And they haven't done any studies on this. There are no studies showing that 5G or even electrosmog as such, because this is all electrosmog, is safe. It's the new tobacco, but the problem is you can't see or smell it. But if you go back to China, I think it was a BBC reporter, regardless, was it a reporter? He hid himself somewhere in China. They could locate him within 3 minutes.
All right.
And that's in China, with million
Yeah.
people cities. So they have surveillance everywhere. The police has smart glasses. They can look you up. Within 7 minutes, I think they have all the details on you. In schools, they're putting monitors on children's heads to see whether they pay attention. If they don't, it goes directly to the parent's mobile phone. This is the kind of world, we're not saying that this is necessarily happening everywhere right now here, but it's coming, it's sneaking upon us. Retina payments, like you said, with the retina, that's in China or in various places, already tested and normal.
Surveillance, as it call it.
If you look at Tibet, which as we know has been occupied by China since the 50s, but nobody talks about it, and we buy Chinese goods as if there's no tomorrow. And we've created this Chinese monster. Now, I'm not saying all Chinese is bad. One of my best friends really from my youth, is Chinese. So it's nothing about the Chinese as such.
Right.
It's about the regime. Now, the problem is, if a regime gets hold of these wireless surveillance tools, which they can already contact us if there's an emergency on our phones. It's Big Brother watching you on steroids. Now in Tibet, they're also using this. They're using biometric identity tracking. They are taking people's DNA from birth. They're forcing the children into Chinese boarding schools, so they forget about their culture. So what's happening there, apart from genocide, is torture and all kinds, is beyond speech. It's beyond. I mean, it's unacceptable. We should all be up in arms about it, but we're not. But the thing is.
But this
is not just political. This is an example of what's happening.
We're being democided,
and we are closing our eyes to it.
In this country, we're being democided in stealth.
Well, of course we are. This is what I'm saying. It's happening here too. It's happening here too. It's sneaking in here. And if we're worried about where it's going, we can look there, or we can say, "Look, we don't want to become like that. We want to be free and for real." And there are various things you can do. As I said in the last interview, get a copper analog landline, keep it, go wired, because wireless is far more hackable, so it's not secure. The government should know this, and I think they do know this. The military generally uses wired when they don't want to be hacked as much. You know, it's far more safe, benign, secure, effective. And faster, by the way.
Well, they lock in on your target, can't they? Like look at, I'm going to Iran now, well, they got some of their top scientists and leaders, didn't they? They probably have a phone, and they can use that as a locator. And these drones or even missiles, bang.
Really what the phone is, and they've said it now because there's more and more concerned parents in this world about kids being, as I said, used as guinea pigs and being totally addicted to these gadgets. It's a weapon, it's a potential weapon. It's not just that the poor kids are seeing all these horrible images, torture, rape, sexual images. It's not just that. It's not just the fact that they're being irradiated, it's also that they are being surveyed everywhere.
Yeah. Well, look at what Israel did in Libya, was it last year, with the pages? Yeah. Remember the pages in Libya? People forget about things like this.
They do.
They were blowing people's limbs off and stuff. Just through the pager and the
pager was the beginning of all this mobile stuff.
Explosives in it. Yeah. Enough to blow a person's limb off.
But that wasn't done wirelessly, but still, they can,
It was done wirelessly.
It was done wirelessly, was it? Well, there we are.
Like a phone page, Like
the pager is wireless.
And vets have them when they're on call and that, don't they? In the pockets.
So what we're walking with a ticking time bomb on us. And as I said before, it's in our own hands. And there's various things that we can do, apart from, as I said, the copper analog landline being the essential for our security. Because what happens if the lights go off and the power goes? How do we communicate? But the other thing is, go to an organization, it's brilliant, it's called Big Brother Watch. And Big Brother Watch, they are trying to oppose this more and more sneaking up on us surveillance. And they are looking into, for example, they can spy more and more on bank accounts, that's one thing they're looking at, but also digital ID. They work together, I think, or even affiliated to Liberty, that's not an organization, but I suggest everybody go to Big Brother Watch because they are warning us about what's going on. Digital ID of course, we need to oppose. I mean, 10 years ago, or was it 20? No, it was 20 probably, because it was during Tony Blair, when they wanted digital, no, not digital, but they wanted identity cards in this country.
Yeah.
People were up in arms.
Yeah.
But now they say digital ID, and people are, because we've been zombified by these things.
That's right.
We
Yeah.
go, oh well, okay.
Well, this is why I compare it to the Third Reich. Yeah. Where's your papers?
In the making.
Where's your ID and all this? You know, it's just more enslavement basically.
And because it's electronic, it's far more pervasive and invasive.
Yeah, they can get
And
back
because
to
they
the-
now, we have this wonderful Mr. Musk who's putting up the satellites in the sky as if there's no
Oh,
tomorrow.
no.
I mean, talk about atmospheric, and people who talk about climate change, they suddenly don't care about all these exhausts and fumes and all
Well,
the...
how many satellites have they got up there now?
thousands and thousands now, I think
Yeah.
7,000-8,000,
Yeah.
but they
It
want...
was only about 5 years ago that they were talking about putting them up there, and I was getting on Facebook and stuff, maybe it's a bit longer. Oh, they can't, Derek, they can't do that, they couldn't get that many satellites up there, there's too much fuel and all this. And I said, and they're there now, they're there.
They're there, but it's only the beginning if this
That's
doesn't stop.
right, yeah, so there's going to be thousands more, isn't there?
1 million approved.
Yeah.
Every 5 years they have to be renewed, moreover.
Yeah.
1 million approved.
No, it's
Destroying...
sustainable. I think it's all Facebook Freddy stuff, this.
Oh, it's crazy.
Get it in, we'll be gone. Who's going to maintain it all?
For starters, they're destroying the view of our night sky, so astronomers up in arms. Secondly, astronomers with their instruments, which are sensitive, that's a given, but these instruments are picking up electromagnetic radiation leaking from these satellites. So they're creating electrosmog, they're blanketing our planet in electrosmog. Yeah, well, it's not nuclear, but it's electrosmog, so
No, but
wireless
are the
radiation.
actual satellites nuclear powered?
No,
No,
they
no.
are not nuclear powered. They go up on, often they use this fuel for satellites, which is horrendous, by the way, for the atmosphere,
Yeah,
pollution-wise. Some of them will probably have some solar stuff, but you know what solar is, it's not very sustainable either, because the stuff has to be made in a mine somewhere in the Congo by child slave labor, etc.
These things are in the lower atmosphere, aren't they? Which is the magnetosphere.
Yes, they're in the lower stratosphere. So what they're also doing is they're harming the ionosphere, which is the positive charge. It's essential for the electromagnetic circuit on Earth. The Earth being negative charged, ionosphere being positively charged.
Yeah.
The lightning, which is coming down on Earth, every 45 minutes, somewhere on Earth, there's a lightning strike. And if that stops, that life stops. It's that essential, yeah. So the ionosphere, even if we can't see it, even if we're walking around looking at our smart mirrors, is essential. And then there's the magnetosphere. All these things are fine-tuned, and they are being destroyed by these
with all this artificial
increasing
energy,
amount
yeah.
of satellites. And then, of course, there's the ecological footprint. They are often fired off in pristine areas. They're now going off from somewhere north in Scotland. I think Cornwall's having a port made, in Wales, or probably near Snowdonia. They choose these beautiful areas, away from people, I suppose, but also, you know, where nature wants to be free and live its life. And it's more and more affecting us on Earth, and it's also affecting us and in the skies, which is affecting our health, because we're connected to the positive charge and the negative charge. We are like antennae.
That's what grounding
Connection has been broken. Yeah,
Getting on the soil with your bare feet.
That's another thing
So
you
that
can do.
cosmic energy
More
can come
important now
through
than
you
ever.
and ground.
Yeah.
It stops. When you get swelling and stuff. What they call it?
You mean the lymphatic system?
No, when you get swelling in your leg.
Yeah, that's the lymphatic system.
They make stuff like ibuprofen for it, don't they? It's inflammation. Yeah.
It causes inflammation.
And
generally.
that's where a lot of the inflammation's caused, because people aren't getting grounded properly.
You're very right. I mean, inflammation, electromagnetic radiation, even non-ionizing, non-heating, because some people claim still, oh, that's not dangerous. Yes, it is.
No,
And it
is.
increases the risk of inflammation in your body, oxidative stress. And one thing you can do, like you mentioned, is grounding yourself bare feet on the ground, like sand or soil or grass, away from buildings, because otherwise you connect to the electric circuit there. Even better if it's moist, because that conducts better, so in the sea, not during lightning. Swimming in the salt sea is the best.
Like this in the garden, spread out naked.
Yeah. Make sure the neighbours don't see you.
Yeah, in the old days,
You can always wave.
they didn't wear clothes.
No, know why. And it's healthier. I mean, people were connected to the earth in the old days and the skies.
Yeah.
We've lost that. We've lost the view of the skies more and more because of the blinding white lights, which is another issue. And so it's so important. But the problem is, Arthur Firstenberg, who I mentioned in the last interview, for those of you who didn't see the interview, he sadly passed away, deeply electrosensitive person. Yeah. He passed away because of all this horror. He created global radiationemergency.org. He said that the earth is so polluted now that even grounding is becoming harder and harder. And the seas are becoming polluted, not just because of our horrible stuff that we put in the sea and the trawlers and all that, that's bad enough, but because we are creating the so-called smart oceans, the Internet of Underwater Things, connecting it to the satellite network.
Very nasty.
Which is radiating the seas, marine life. They're using sonar and light down there, both of which disturb all marine life, but particularly dolphins, whales are sensitive because they use sonar. It's absolutely crazy. And with this, I say it again and again, there's no alternative, it needs to be stopped, but it starts with us. It starts with us using less of this, less wireless, preferably none of it at all, going wired, and demanding from our politicians that we keep our copper analog landlines. This is a card that I have. You can ask me if you can provide my email address, perhaps Derek, or contact Safe Tech International, contact the group Save Our Phone Boxes and Copper Landlines, and you can get a card like this, or you make it yourself, and you send it to the Department for Innovation, Science, Innovation and Technology, it's called now, and which is run by Mr. A.I. Peter Kyle.
That's at the top of Whitehall, I think.
And he should get this message. And the other ones who get this message is Age UK, because they have a campaigns group. You can send this free post to Age UK campaigns. And they are trying to defend people who want their copper analog line and the elderly particularly. But they need to hear this as well, because they don't understand that VoIP isn't the same.
Where can people download that card?
You can go to the Copper Analog Landlines public Facebook group, or if you don't go on Facebook, you can contact me via you, or you can email me.
Yeah, I'll put your email in the notes.
That's fine, yes. And or you can make them yourselves. Above all, sign this petition, as I said before. Save Our Copper Analog Landlines is an I-petition. And we all just need to stand up and say, this is wrong, we want to take back our lives again. And when it comes to cars, because we mentioned cars earlier, when it comes to your car, because the modern cars, for starters, when I drive now at night, it's almost impossible because the lights are so blinding, it's absolutely mad.
LED, a lot of controversy on that at the moment, isn't there?
So luckily, fortunately, people are becoming aware of this issue, but it's so crazy that it's a danger to life. And we know that LED lights, even if it's not white, but of course the car lights are far too white as well, which wake you up at night, so it's not good, folks. You need warm light at night.
Damage your retinas as well, don't you?
Of course you need good car lights, and of course you need to see at night, but it needs to be warm and benign. That also doesn't disturb wildlife. We're not the only ones on this planet. But the thing is that these car lights are, the lights as such, the LED lights are the precursor of 5G and all this already. So the street lights were essential. They were essential for the smart cities and the smart towns, cities, villages.
For the antennae on the top.
They are already wireless. They already have remote control and all that, and they want to put more and more on it, and 5G cells and everything. And the cars are like radiation hotbeds now. They're crazy. They have radar, which is, we already knew this in the 60s, 70s, not good for us. So we need to definitely take away the radar out of the cars. Autonomous cars will be like microwave ovens, so don't ever go close to them.
I don't think anything
autonomous.
I don't think in the end they're going to be successful.
Well, we can hope, but they're trying it on us. We need to wake up and ask for cars that are not, and real cars, not electric cars, because batteries are not good for us, but sustainable cars. Obviously don't use your car when you don't need it. And above all, not surveillance tools, because that's what they've become as well. And again, a world where we live by simple means. I'm not saying the Stone Age, but we can have technology that helps us, that's benign to us. Not AI. AI is a takeover. We need to take back control and think for ourselves. Who wants artificial intelligence when we can have real emotional intelligence? That's what we're here for, folks.
We need
to live
critical thinking
full life.
schools, not indoctrination, do we? And
Exactly.
You know, they're being groomed for the digital age and everything, you know.
There we are.
And even universities have been subverted, you know.
It's true. We need to think for ourselves and for the planet as well.
Okay, Tanya, thank you. So, yeah, we got a nice little interview there. It'll be in the playlist.